Appeal call to firms ADEMOLA ADELEKE as OSUN governor. The Central Bank of Nigeria confirms evacuation of banknotes to banks. Plus, the United States and Canada reach agreement to restrict asylum seekers. Hello and welcome to NEWSLIVE in View Television. My name is Joy Malik. Well, many thanks for joining us, and let's take a look at the OSUN global polls and how the Court of Appeal in Abuja has nullified the judgment of the election tribunal, which voided the election of ADEMOLA ADELEKE as governor of OSUN State. Well, the three-member panel of the appellate court, led by Justice Muhammad Shaibu, held that the tribunal erred in law in arriving that ADELEKE was not lawfully elected as governor in the July 16th governorship election. According to the ruling, the lower tribunal was wrong when it held that there was overvoting in some polling units when such allegations were not proved. The tribunal, in an unanimous judgment, stated that overvoting can only be proved with a combination of data obtained from the beavers and reports from INEC-backed server and not only on the back-end server reports. The appellate court, in addition, faulted the tribunal for not taking cognizance of the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which earlier held that ADELEKE was qualified to contest the election. The House of Representatives has stepped down a bill to legalize the cultivation and use of cannabis for recreational and medicinal use. Now, the bill, co-sponsored by Representatives Miriam Benjamin Kalu and Olumide Osuba, was stepped down following opposition from members. Let's take a report on that.
The bill proposes to give the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency the power to regulate the growth and consumption of cannabis. During the debate, some of the members opposed to the bill, advising that it should be thoroughly debated at a public hearing. Majority of the members say the bill has a faulty foundation and cannot address the concern about abuse and addiction.
Most Nigerians are in need of this product and they are going overseas to receive it. And we are living in denial because we go outside and we import it in medicinal form to treat cancer in Germany, in Australia, in the United States and other parts of the world.
To talk about giving authority to an agency that have said that cannabis was banned and cannabis Nigerians should be examined, political office holder should be examined on issues of cannabis. And we are coming here to come and legislate upon it. Mr. Speaker, before we transport policy into a drafting aspect to become a law, Mr. Speaker, it should be well debated.
We should be guided, sir. I want to appeal to my colleagues and my brother who is sponsoring this bill that it's not a time for it in Nigeria.
However, following the opposition from members, the bill was, however, stepped down for further legislative action.
Even over the counter, over the shelf, you could get products from CBD oil for beauty care, for medicinal uses, for cancer, seizures, and pain, and all of those. What has become the underlying factor now is the abuse. But I'd like to also bring it to the fore that the trait of the SIP cannabis we are talking about is the non-psychoactive. It's not the tetrahydrocannabinoid, which is psychoactive.
What many were arguing about, including DS and others, I was going by yesterday's bill, which was just talking about licensing for medicinal purpose only. But this one talks about decriminalization and a legal framework for the growth and the sale of cannabis. So you have introduced poison chalice. You have introduced poison into the bill of yesterday.
The Parliament is of the opinion that more jobs should be done on the bill and be represented sometime in the future with a better package and understanding.
The House of Representatives has urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to direct all commercial banks in the country to immediately overhaul their existing online electronic banking platforms to ease electronic banking operations. This was a sequel to a motion by Representative Sir Gilles Ogun at plenary. Ogun stated that there has been an increase in the use of online and electronic banking service across the country in the wake of the recent Naira redesign and cash withdrawal limit policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The lawmaker, however, noted that the use of online or internet banking services in the past 3 months has been characterized by varying degrees of hitches. According to him, the ineffectiveness or difficulty in using internet banking service across the online banking platforms of most commercial banks in Nigeria has brought untold hardship and suffering to Nigerians in the past 3 months.
The House also acknowledges that the use of online or internet banking services by Nigerians in the past 3 months or thereabout has been characterized by varying degrees of hitches ranging from unsuccessful electronic bank transfers, point of sale POS, service failure, and a host of others. The House is disturbed that the ineffectiveness or difficulty in using internet banking services across the online banking platforms of most commercial banks in Nigeria has brought untold hardship, suffering, and difficulties on Nigerians in the past 3 months. The House is worried that if nothing is done by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the commercial banks to address these difficulties or ineffectiveness, Nigerians will continue to suffer untold hardships and loss of monies to unsuccessful electronic bank transactions.
Well, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, and other government officials embark on the final inspection of the multi-billion Naira VIP wing of the State House Medical Center, facilitated by construction giants Julius Berger within the presidential villa. The inspection led by the Permanent Secretary Tijani Umar, Director of Maintenance Joseph Apagu, and other officials came barely 68 days to the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Now recall that the presidency had vowed to inaugurate the state-of-the-art clinic which will offer Medicare for the country's president, vice president, visiting heads of states, and other high-ranking officials of government before the end of the Buhari-led government.
Just approved that, before now, in 2018, he had given approval that the State House Clinic, medical center then, there in the other part of Asokoro, that had challenges about equipment, about aging, issues, resources, funding, everything. It was scaled down from medical center to a State House medical clinic. Now he has approved, with everything that has been improved in the other place, and with this state-of-the-art facility, we can no longer operate this as a clinic. It is now State House Medical Center. He has just granted the approval. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Speaking to newsmen after inspecting the 13-bed edifice, Mustafa expressed satisfaction with the pace of work and quality of equipment already fitted in the 5-star medical center ahead of the official commissioning ceremony.
Heads of government. Peradventure, there is an emergency. We need a facility that will provide the kind of care that is internationally acknowledged and recognized, and a standard kind of care before even that particular head of state or government is evacuated out of the country. And this facility provides for that. We have aging former presidents. I believe that they would have access to these facilities. The sitting president will have access to it. And other top government functionaries, as might be prescribed by the administrative structure that will be put in place. I believe that this is money well spent.
In her remarks, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning also expressed delight over the quality of work on the facility.
But what I've seen today, we have supported this process in terms of making sure that the funding is provided on time This is a project that has been delivered dead on time and on budget, so there has been no overrun. And the facilities here are world class. We're looking forward to the commissioning very soon and to putting this facility to full use. I have donated myself as one of the people that can be tried in this test run. You can do some of your test runs. I'm willing to come and do a medical here to testify that everything that is here is what you can see anywhere you go in the world.
In a bid to reduce the bottleneck in accessing credit facilities for farming activities, the Central Bank of Nigeria has launched a programmable money for farmers project through the eNaira wallet. The project targets 1 million farmers across the northern state of the Federation for the 2023 dry and wet farming season. President Bank tells us more.
The agricultural sector contributes approximately 25% of Nigeria's gross domestic product, employing about 70% of the country's workforce. Despite this significant contribution, access to credit and financial services remains a major challenge for farmers in rural communities. This is why the Central Bank of Nigeria is unveiling the Farmers Programmable Money Agro eNaira engagement. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, who was represented by CBN's head of ICT, lauded the initiative while calling on farmers to take advantage of the novel idea.
We have a set of farmers. These are really human beings who are going to have wallets. They are going to use their money to go and buy inputs. These inputs are going to be bought from merchants, who are people who also drive the economy. They are going to have wallets as well. And these input providers, in turn, are going to go and buy these commodities from other people. And that's how the ecosystem is going to be built. And that's how we're going to grow our GDP, the gross domestic product in the country. But I cannot end without mentioning the fact that somebody has to provide the farmers the money to even begin this chain in the first place, and that's why the association comes in place. So we must really applaud the thinking, the compassion, and the commitment that the association has shown to even start this process. And on top of that, that they even thought that they could leverage technology to be innovative, to solve their challenges, is something out of this world.
National President of the Association of Northern Agricultural and Allied Commodities Practitioners, Sadiq Dawari, said the aim of the project is to reduce intermediaries and provide easy access to credit and financial services to farmers by providing them with programmable money through a centralized platform that is efficient, secure, and transparent.
I'm happy to announce to our members and indeed all Nigerians that the Association of Northern Agricultural and Allied Commodities Practitioners, in partnership with Central Bank of Nigeria, have gotten it right to make sure that farmers, particularly the smallholder farmers across the country, get loan at ease with little or no hitches, leveraging on the eNaira wallet platform. We have tested the program. We look at it worthy of doing this in Nigeria, and today we will launch this program, and we are inviting all farmers, particularly those who want to leverage on government projects and programs, those that want to partner with with development partners to leverage on this eNaira wallet platform. I'm assuring you that you will not regret.
Dr. Farouk Hamzat, who spoke on behalf of the farmers, lauded the CBN for the initiative while assuring that farmers will make good use of the platform to access credit facilities which will be used to ensure food security in the country.
With this laudable program of eNaira that we are going to partake, I believe that our smallholder farmers and we also the input suppliers can be able to produce, can be able to contribute to Nigerian agricultural productions and productivity to attain a sustainable food security in the country.
The program targets farmers who cultivate different varieties of commodities across the northern states. It also targets over 10 million farmers in the coming years if they perceive it to be transparent and reliable. Percy Dabang, VOA TV News, Yola.
The NEWSLIVE returns. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has confirmed the evacuation of banknotes from its vaults to commercial banks across the country. Well, details of these and more comes to you right after the break, so stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Live on Viewer Television. Now let's take a recap of our top stories. Appeal calls affirms ADEMOLA ADELEKE as OSUN State Governor. The Central Bank of Nigeria confirms evacuation of banknotes to banks. Plus, the United States and Canada reach agreement to restrict asylum seekers. In Kaduna State, the National Biosafety Regulatory Agency and Food Production has restated its commitment on safe food. The agency, whose mandate is to ensure that genetically modified crops and foods are safe for consumption, held a town hall meeting with farmers, processors, and marketers on Tella maize, which becomes one among genetic modified seeds for consumption.
Modified, and Tella maize is a genetically modified maize, and is actually to work against fall armyworm and stem borer worm attack. So with a view to improving the productivity, yields, and so that the farmer that has access to the seeds of Tella maize, of course, he will smile. He will apply less chemical, that's chemical spray, maybe 2 times. If he was doing like 10 times, it will now be reduced down to 2.
Now, with the introduction of the genetic organic seed, farmers should be anticipating to yield more in maize production.
Give protection against pests and also drought tolerance. We can help farmers who would have probably completely lose their crop to have something. So now to have something is positive. So we are seeing from our trials over Africa that farmers growing this technology, if they adopt the technology, they can easily increase their yield by as much as 43%.
The commercialization of the genetic modified seed is set to spread nationwide in the next couple of years.
Trying to ensure that Nigerian farmers grow hybrids of maize that are tolerant to fall armyworm, stem borers, and they are drought tolerant. These varieties have proven to be high yielding and highly adaptable to Nigerian situation. So we want to commercialize these maize hybrids by in the next couple of years, 2 to 3 years, so that Nigerian farmers will have improved yields of maize from the present less than 2 tons per hectare to about 7 to 8 tons. This hybrid has the potential to produce 7 to 8 tons per hectare.
Now, it is worthy to know that these genetically modified organisms are food items that have been made using genetic engineering techniques and are considered safe for human consumption. The Saturday, March 18, 2023 governorship election in Bauchi State has been characterized as calm and credible by Forum of Independent National Electoral Commission, accredited international and domestic observers. Now, the coordinator of the forum, Ambassador Charity, stated that the election was conducted in a peaceful and conducive environment and that all political parties that took part in the election had party agents in the majority of the polling units, particularly the APC, PDP, Labour Party, and NNPP. She made the statement at the press conference at the Secretariat of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, in Bauchi State. Well, our Bauchi State correspondent, Hawa Hassan, completes the story.
This is how nearly every voting place in each of the Bauchi State's 20 local government districts handled the governorship election of 2023. The Forum of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC certified international and domestic observers, attested to the absence of any animosity during the voting process. Track up.
There was impressive turnout of voters in most of the polling units where electorates came out a month to cast their votes and elect the candidates of their choice.
Speaking to journalists, the forum claims that notwithstanding a few small difficulties here and there, all polling places experienced calm voting.
There were minor challenges at the polling units, like controlling the crowd, which the security personnel helped in taking care of. However, the election recorded minor incidents of attacks at some polling units, but it was resolved amicably.
The forum credits timely delivery of electoral materials and voter education for the election success.
We also suggest that all stakeholders, including NGOs, should embark on sensitization, education, and mobilization of grassroots people on the importance of participation in the state election as it impacts on their welfare mostly.
However, it may be recalled that the APC candidate for governor, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, called for the cancellation for the governorship result after alleging that the governorship was marred by violence in some local government areas of the state, intimidation of APC voters, ballot snatching, and electoral fraud. Awol Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
Still in Bauchi State, one of the All Progressive Congress APC supporters group in Bauchi says it is not satisfied with the outcome of the just concluded governorship as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), where the People's Democratic Party (PDP) candidate was announced winner in Bauchi State. The group, while briefing journalists in Bauchi, however, calls its members as well as the party supporters to remain calm and resist all provocation as they await the results of the outcome of the stakeholders of the party. Well, our Hassan from Bauchi State tells us more.
The outcome of the 2023 governorship election in Bauchi State was not favorable to members and supporters of the All Progressive Congress APC. This is as their candidate Ambassador Sadiq Abubakar was defeated by the incumbent Governor Bala Muhammad of the People's Democratic Party (PDP).
There is overvoting in almost all the local government because the people of Bauchi, I'm not saying this because I am a supporter of Air Marshal Sadiq. I am saying this based on facts that the people of Bauchi and everybody knows that it is Baba Sadiq that people voted him and it is APC that people voted. So it is our responsibility as the leaders that will fight for the mandate of the people and fight for the right of what the people voted.
Although this group of party supporters known as One Bauchi Siyasa Badaga Baba is not satisfied with the outcome of the election, it however calls on members as well as party supporters to remain calm and resist all provocation.
My position is to fight for justice because there is injustice.
However, we enjoin all our supporters to remain calm and not to take laws into their hand. As for the outcome of the election, does not reflect the desire and aspiration of the people of Bauchi State.
According to the group, it is evident that the governorship election in Bauchi is marred with irregularities, especially by the ruling People's Democratic Party in the state.
Ranging from intimidation of voters, political thuggery, overvoting, vote buying, and harassment engineered by the ruling party in the state.
Other members of the group who expressed their views to journalists said they would not leave any stone unturned till the mandate of Ambassador Sadiq Abubakar returned to the people of Bauchi State in APC. Awol Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
Florence Agogo from Cross River State has received the traditional title of Zinaria, which means the Golden Lady, from a community in Bauchi State. According to the district head of the community, this was done to further strengthen the unity of diversity that exists throughout Nigeria. According to Howard Hassan from Bauchi State, Florence, who traveled from Calabar to accept this traditional title, was thrilled and pledged to do her share to advance the Guamaliji community and Bauchi State in general. The report.
Guamaliji community, a suburb of Bauchi Metropolis, houses diversity of ethno-religious groups, among whom are students of the Federal Polytechnic in the state. Residents of the community live peacefully with one another, irrespective of their ethnic and religious differences. Today is a celebration of traditional title of Zinaria, meaning the Golden Lady, conferred on Florence Ogo from Calabar, Cross River State.
I feel really excited and I feel really thankful to the people of Bauchi for finding me worthy to confer me with this prestigious title. I feel really happy, I feel welcome.
Florence is a humanitarian who is constantly motivated by the desire to have an impact on the world and the people in it. She claims that this traditional title will motivate her to work harder, especially for the community's residents.
I will ensure that my humanitarian services are extended to this community that has, recognized me as one of their own. I will ensure that everything that I do, right from where I am, will always touch them.
The president of the West African Law Students Association, Nazir Sunusi, says Florence has been one of them and claims that this is a well-deserved chance for her to expand the humanitarian services she has been doing.
Honor to whom much is given, much is expected. She has served humanity and honoring those who distinguish themselves when it comes to serving humanity. I think it's a good step in the right direction, and considering the part that she is from South, this will strengthen our national unity.
For the district head of Gwalameji, he says he hopes Florence will continue to be good ambassador and will carry out not only the people of his community, but Bauchi in general. Awal Hassan, Zua TV News, Bauchi.
Well, in a heartbreaking tale of animal cruelty, while the world celebrates World Puppy Day, some parts of Nigeria reeling in the pain of one that was murdered. A dog was shot in Cooperative Villa Estate. Animal cruelty has been living in our community for a while, killing animals and using their skin for leather making. This was the case of Raxi, shot twice for wandering into a house at Cooperative Villa Estate in Lagos State. Well, all wandering dogs are required by the estate law to be shot inside, and regrettably, the community's security guards didn't think twice about carrying out this brutal punishment. In front of the owner's brother, Raxi was shot 3 times in the neck and slowly bled to die. In the meantime, a large group of Nigerians protested outside the Langbasa police station and demanded justice for the brutal killing of Raxi, the dog at the Cooperative Villa Estate. Well, you're still watching NEWSLIVE and View Television. Business, international news comes to you right after the break, so stay tuned. And on business news, in less than 24 hours after the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) directed all its branches and affiliates unions to mobilize members for a shutdown of all the branches of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) across the country over cash scarcity, the Apex Bank has scheduled a meeting with the NLC at the Labour House, Abuja. The Comrade Joe Ajaero led NLC earlier while addressing journalists, said the activities and all branches of the CBN nationwide and the Abuja headquarters will be shut down Wednesday next due to the cash crunch in the country. Ajaero had advised workers to stockpile food items as industrial disputes with the CBN will be total. He said Nigerians have been subjected to untold hardship occasioned by the scarcity of naira note to attend to medical needs and other areas of need. While the expected improvement in supply of cash to the banks is yet to materialize, experienced agents and other business owners lament the crushing impact of ongoing cash crunch on patronage. 2 weeks after the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) directed banks to comply with the Supreme Court, the extended use of the older notes to December 31st this year, most Nigerians find it difficult to access cash from the banks. Bankers who spoke to newsmen said supply of cash to banks has not improved. Also, the banks were besieged by a crowd of customers who stood under the scorching sun hoping to get cash. A bank customer, Mary, said she paid 1,500 naira to withdraw 5,000 naira in Ikorodu this week. Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has confirmed the evacuation of banknotes from its vaults to commercial banks across the country as part of a coordinated effort to ease the circulation of banknotes of various denominations. The CBN has also directed all commercial banks to open for operations on Saturdays and Sundays. The Acting Director of Corporate Communications Department of the CBN, Dr. Isa Abdulmomin, disclosed this in Abuja, stated that a substantial amount of money in various denominations had been received by the commercial banks for onward circulation to the respective customers. According to him, the CBN had directed all banks to load their automated teller machines as well as conduct physical operations in the banking halls through the weekends. He, therefore, urged Nigerians to be patient as the current situation would ease soon with the injection of more banknotes into circulation. And on the oil sector, the Independent Petrol Marketers Association of Nigeria has faulted the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timothy Silva, over his assurance on the completion of the Port Harcourt refinery. Silva had, during a seminar recently in Abuja, said the refinery will be ready before the end of the second quarter of this year. But the IPMAN chairman for Rivers State, Dr. Joseph Obele, said the assurance of the minister were one too many without results. Obele said this in a statement issued in Port Harcourt, while noting that it was not the first time the minister was making such a promise. The union leader said it was unfortunate he had failed to deliver any of the promises, noting that the latest promise would not be kept. According to him, Nigeria is the only member of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries without a functional refinery. The Nigerian Exchange Limited says it has continued its advocacy of building, saving and investing culture in young Nigerians as it celebrates the 2023 edition of Global Money Week. All it said the week was to raise awareness on the importance of ensuring that young people from an early age were financially aware and gradually acquiring the knowledge, skills, attitudes and behaviors necessary to make sound financial decisions and ultimately achieve financial well-being and financial resilience. In a statement, it disclosed that NGX Securities and Exchange Commission and NGX Regulation Limited partnered with the Central Bank of Nigeria to educate over 100 students on the theme Plan Your Money, Plan Your Future, to further enhance investors' education and financial literacy. The divisional head, Capital Markets, NGX Jude Chimika, emphasized on the need to guide children in their formative years to be responsible citizens in the future. And the news around the world, the United States and Canada have reached an agreement that would allow America's northern neighbor to turn away asylum seekers attempting to cross the U.S.-Canada border at unofficial points of entry, according to media reports. Now, the deal, which is expected to be announced at the end of President Biden's visit to Ottawa on Friday, will reportedly expand a decade-old treaty between the two countries known as the Safe Third Country Agreement. The Safe Third Country Agreement requires that asylum seekers requires refugee protection in the first safe country they arrive in. As a result, migrants attempting to enter Canada from the U.S. at official ports of entry would be turned away. However, the threat did not previously include asylum seekers who crossed at unofficial points of entry, such as Wrexham Road, a popular unofficial crossing in New York, according to the New York Times. A funeral was held for thousands of human bone fragments found during excavations at Berlin's Freie Universität, thought to have been part of scientific collections held by the Nazis. The fragments belonging to at least 54 men, women, and children, mostly dating from at least 2 centuries ago, were buried at a ceremony organized by the Freie Universität at a cemetery in the west of the German capital. Following a musical introduction from a pianist and cellist, 5 wooden boxes containing the bones were lowered into the ground. The bone fragments, ranging from size of a fingernail to around 12 centimeters, were first discovered during construction work at the university in 2014.
Ich finde, dass auch, dass so viele Menschen hier gekommen sind, auch wichtig für die Zukunft, dass man auch nicht vergisst, vor allem für mich, dass ich ich bin hier, um meine Vorfahren zu vertreten. Und ich spreche auch von meinen Vorfahren, die nicht hier sind, eventuell ein Teil auch hier begraben sind.
Und wir haben, auch wenn das jetzt lange her ist, einfach die Verpflichtung, denen Ruhe zu geben. Und auch wenn wir jetzt die Namen nicht kennen, nicht einzeln zuordnen können, das sind Opfer.
After a grueling jeep trip of almost 24 hours of mostly desert roads, 2-year-old Rosalinda arrived at the clinic of Uribe, Northern Colombia, just in time. Emaciated by the malnutrition that kills dozens of children in the country's northern LA departments every year, Rosalinda received emergency treatment that saved her life. Iguran somehow managed to collect the equivalent of nearly $70 from relatives for the jeep taxi ride that brought Rosalinda to the clinic, a fortune in a region where 2/3 of people live in poverty. The toddler arrived acutely underweight and dehydrated, said pediatrician Karin Tonsel. Her growth is stunted by a lack of food. 5 days after being admitted, Rosalinda was sitting up in bed asking for food, said her mother, her own tin frame drops in a loose yellow robe.
Este es un alimento hecho a base de maíz. En muchas comunidades, esto es lo único que vas a encontrar de alimento. Pueden pasar todo el día y esto es lo único que comen.
A veces no hay comida. Que yo compré en Rebaya, a veces come solo el día.
La que yo llegué estaba ahí malísima, estaba, hubiera mirado así, una carga, una trapita así, encima, cargadita así.
And that's all the news live, but before we go, let's take a recap of the headlines. Well, a plea call to AFFIRMS ADEMOLA ADELEKE as OSUN State Governor. The Central Bank of Nigeria confirms evacuation of banknotes to banks. Plus, the United States and Canada reach agreement to restrict asylum seekers. Well, many thanks for watching. I am Joy Malik. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Good night.